Hi everyone, I'm Isabella Maldonado, and if we haven't met before, I've been working alongside Devlin to help create these beginner storyline sessions for you. And I myself am a beginner to storyline as well. I've only been using storyline for about 2 months, and I mainly learned storyline through Devlin's Storyline Project Lab. This was a really good help for me to learn storyline in this short amount of time. First is a link to this Google folder where we're going to download all the assets for this project. And to download all these assets, you would select the music player folder, click on it, and in this drop down menu, you would select download to download everything at once. For this session, we are going to be creating a music player, and this is what it's going to be. This is what our final product is going to look like. So as you can see, we're going to learn how to add in slides, layers, and as well as how to add in simple triggers, as well as how to add in text, shapes, hotspots, as well as audio and pictures. So as you can tell, we have a lot to go over today. Now, this is the Figma file I created. And this is like the prototype I made before I went to Storyline, and I had Devlin check this prototype before I start creating the project in Storyline. This just saves a lot of time, and it helps you build out your project so you can just create a better project overall. So this is my prototype. Again, it was made in Figma. And let's get back to our project. So let's see. So as you can see, we made our storyline project look like it's a cell phone, and we're using a music app. So we have our home screen, and when we select one of these songs, it will play like a music app. So I will select it, and you should be able to hear that music. Now, as you can see, we do have a play and a pause button, and we have our forward and back buttons. So when I select forward, we are pushed to the next song. So I'll go ahead and pause that. And as you can tell, each song automatically starts when it appears. So from here, we also have our home button, which would bring us back to our home page. And we also have our playlist button right here. Now, I do want to sneak in really quick. There is a challenge at the end of this session. Now, I'm not going to talk about it right now because we are at the beginning, but there is a challenge at the end. Now, for our playlist, we can either push the play button, which will start playing our playlist, or we can select one of the songs. So let's go ahead and select Old School, and it'll keep playing the song, and that's the project we're going to be building. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention, we will be learning how to add animation in Storyline as well. So when I play a song, you're going to notice that the album cover fades in. This is an animation in Storyline. So this fade right here and that fade, as well as these two text boxes, they also fade in. Let me bring up the project that I had completed earlier. This is the story view of what our completed project. This is what our completed project is going to look like. So we have our home slide, and we have our playlist slide, and we also have our 4 songs. So I have a brand new storyline file opened, and let's go ahead and change the resolution of our slide. So we're going to go to the design tab, and we're going to go to slide size. So again, we're going to go to the design tab and slide size. And for this project, this is a kind of a unique resolution because this is the resolution of a cell phone. So this isn't something you would typically use for a project unless it's a unique project like this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to uncheck lock aspect ratio, and we want our width to be 670 by 1300. So again, we want our width to be 670, and we want the height to be 1300. Select OK. And I'm going to go ahead and view our first slide. So I'm just going to double click on our slide. And this is it right here. So it's a really long rectangle slide. And from here, the first thing we want to do is we want to import our cell phone image. So to import an image, we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to go to Picture. And in this pop-up, we're going to select a picture from a file. Oh, appeared on my other screen. Now, we're going to go ahead and select the cell phone case image. So I'm going to select it and select open. And that's how we're going to add in our cell phone image. So there we go. That's how we're going to add in our cell phone image. And we want this image to be centered on our slide. So we're going to, in the Format tab, we're going to use the Arrange and Align tools. So again, Format tab with the picture selected. If you do not have the picture selected, so right now I don't have it selected, I'm not going to see the Format tab. I have to first select the picture, and then it will appear. So our Format tab, we're going to select Align to Center, and we're going to select again Align to Middle. So this is where we want our shape to be, or our picture to be. So again, we want it to be aligned to center and aligned to middle. So from here, let's go ahead and rename our picture. So we don't want it to be called picture one. We want it to be called cell phone. Oh, and to enter in a text mode, all you need to do is just double click on the layer, or all you need to do is just double click on the object in the timeline, and you can change the name of the object. So again, cell phone. And while we're here, the timeline displays everything in the slide. So right now we only have one item, which is our cell phone image. And let's see, what else does the timeline do? And it controls all the timing within our project. So we are going to experiment with timing just a tad in this project as well. So these seconds right here, that's the timing in our project. Now, from here, we don't really need to move our cell phone image at all. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it by selecting the lock icon next to the name of the picture. And I want to do this so that way I don't accidentally move it. So even when I'm selecting it, I'm clicking on it right now, it's not going to move because it's locked. So again, we want to lock it right here. And if you want to unlock it, you would just select it again to remove the lock feature. So I'm going to lock it. Now, we want to add in a shape to act as our background because, hold on, let me move my shape really quick. Our cell phone is transparent, so it looks like, so this, our screen part is actually transparent, so it's actually see-through. So we need to add in a shape so that way it will not be see-through. So I'm going to undo this and lock my picture again. So we're going to add in a shape. So we're going to go to Insert, we're going to go to Shape, and we're going to add in a rectangle. So I'm just going to click and drag to add in a rectangle that's going to cover my entire screen. Now from here, I actually want to pull my rectangle down so it's below my image. So I'm going to select it in the timeline and pull it down so that way it's below my image. So that way we can see first our picture and then our shape. And I'm going to rename this shape background. And for this shape, we want it to be black. So we're going to go to Format, Shape Fill, and we're going to select black from the drop-down menu. And let's go ahead and remove any stroke this shape might have. So we're going to go to the shape outline, and we're going to select no outline. And let's go ahead and lock this shape as well. So there we go. And now we have the base for our project. So let's go ahead and rename this slide cell phone. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate this image or this slide completely. So that way, for all the slides in this project, we're going to use that as our base. So I'm going to I'm going to right click on it, and oh, actually, before I do that, I do need to do one thing. Let me bring up the project again. If you look at our project, you don't see the white outline of the slide. So you see how we have this white outline right here? We're not seeing it in our final project. This is because we set our background to transparent. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So we're going to right click on the slide. Make sure you right click on the slide and not on the image. So right click, and under Format Background, let me move this to the side. Under fill and under transparency, we're going to move transparency to 100. So we're going to select apply to all. I mean, we only have one slide right now, but apply to all and close. So let's go ahead and preview this project right now. So let's go to the preview button and let's select this slide. Okay, so we have our image and it does look like our background is transparent, so that's great. But we do have the player settings active, so we can see this menu, we can see the name of the slide and all these other buttons. So let's go ahead and remove them because we don't need them for this project. So let's click close preview. And let's go ahead and remove these two triggers right here. These two triggers are for the player and we don't need them for this project. So let's go ahead and delete them. So delete this trigger and delete this trigger. Now let's go back to story view and let's select player. So remember, we got to go to story view and we have to select player to get the player settings. And under menus and control, we're going to turn it off. So there we go. This is a preview of what our project is going to look like. And we're just going to see our slide. So we're going to select OK to finalize this decision. And let's go back to our cell phone slide. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this slide. So we're going to select duplicate. And let's rename our second slide our home page. Home page. And let's see. From here, let's look at our project again. So for our project, we have two text box. We have all the albums, or all the album covers, and we also have the name of the song and the name of the artist below each album cover. And we also have our preview or view full playlist button as well. So let's go ahead and start developing our welcome text as well as the listen to your personal playlist text. So let's go to insert and we're going to insert in a text box. And again, I'm just going to click and drag it. And I'm going to type in the word welcome. And it looks like nothing happened. Let me go ahead and zoom in. And to zoom in your project, you're going to go to the bottom right corner and you're going to use these handles. Go back on our homepage. Uh, so I did create our text box, but our text is black and our background is black. We're not going to see it. So let's go ahead and change the font to white. So when you're changing the font of the text box, make sure the border is solid. You don't want it to be dotted. Dotted? I don't know. Let me zoom in really quick so I can show you guys. Striped. That's the word. So right now the border is solid, but when I enter in typing mode, it becomes striped. So we just want it to be solid like this. So we're going to go to the home tab and we're going to go to the font color option and we're going to select white. So there we go. Now we can see our text. So from here, we also want to expand our text so it's bigger. And we're going to change this text box so it's size 60. So there we go. Let me zoom out a bit more. And let's go ahead and start creating our second text box, this text box right here. Listen to your personal playlist. So again, let's go to insert, text box, and we're going to create our second text box. So this one is going to say, listen to your personal playlist. And again, we can't see it. Now, here's a tip I learned from the Storyline Project Lab. You can actually change the default text. So right now, our default text is size 12, black font, and open sans body. Every time we create a text box, that's what it's going to default to. But you can actually change this. So let's go ahead and change this text box to the font we want it to be. So we want it to be white. And I want this text box to be at size 20. So there we go. And to change the default text, we're going to go to normal or no more text. And we're going to open up this side menu. Now we're going to select update style from selection. So I'll go ahead and do that again. So first select the text box, go to normal text, and open up this side menu and select update style from selection. So right now we have our welcome text and we have our listen to your personal playlist text. So let's look at our project again. And let's go ahead and start developing this first song right here. So our feeling good flow song. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to import the album cover. So let's go to insert, picture, picture from file, and we're going to select the first album, which is the Feel Good Flow album. There we go. And let's see, we want this image to be at this size. So let's see. First, select the picture, and in the Format tab, we're going to use the Size and Position feature to resize the image and to place it in a certain location in this project. So for the width, we want it to be at 190. There we go. And the height, we want it to be at 189. So again, we want the size or we want the width to be at 190 and we want the height to be at 189. Now, as for the X and Y axis, we want it to be at 14 for the X axis, and we want our Y axis to be at 408. So there we go. So again, we want our X axis to be at 114, and we want our Y axis to be at 408. And let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more so we can see what we're doing. And let's go ahead and move our text boxes so they line up with with our album cover. So I'm just going to shrink this down. So do you see that purple line? That purple line is letting us know that those two items are aligned. So I'm just going to release it and I'm going to do the same thing for our welcome screen, our welcome text. Let me shrink it down a little bit. There we go. So even though our text boxes are aligned, you just saw me align them, they aren't exactly lining up to the image still. This is because we need to change the margins in the text box. So to do this, we're going to select the text box and right click, and we're going to select format shape. So again, we're going to right click on the text box and we're going to select format shape. And in the format shape pop-up, we're going to go to text box. Actually, yes, text box. We're going to go to text box and we're going to push the left margin down to 0. So did you see how the text moved over to the left side of the screen? This is because we just removed all the margin for the left side. So let's go ahead and do this for the other text box. And you don't have to X out of the format shape. You can actually just select the text box and just remove it again. So you don't have to exit out of the format shape pop up. So there we go, and we pushed it again. So and let's go ahead and add in the name of the song and the name of the artist. So let's add in another text box. And let me zoom in a bit more so we can see. So we're going to add in the name of the song. So it's Feel Good Flow. There we go. And we want this font to be at, let's see. We want this font to be at size 14. So size 14. There we go. We also want this text to be bold. So we're just going to select the bold option. Control T. Let's see. Control T. Oh no. Oh, oh, it worked this time. Sometimes when I select Control T, the whole program will crash. So thank goodness it didn't do that this time, but this is a good opportunity to save our projects. So let's just use Control S to save our projects. Yeah. So we're going to add in our next text box, and I'm just going to copy and paste this text box. So we're going to right click, we're going to select copy, and we're going to select paste. There we go. And for this text box, we want it to be at size 12, and we want it to be, and we don't want this text to be bolded. So we're just going to undo the bold. And this needs to be the name of the artist. So this artist is called Drop and Q. There we go. So let's go. Oh, you know, so you see how these two text boxes are really close together? Let's go ahead and separate them a bit more as well. So I'm just going to grab it and drag it down a bit more. There we go. And there's the little gap again. So we have to change the margins. So we got to right click on it and select format shape. Text box. And we're going to remove all the margins from the left side. And the same thing for our artist name. 0 and close. So there we go. And while I'm waiting for questions, I'm actually going to go ahead and yes, it's time to rename the objects. Someone said it right before I could. So again, I'm going to select, actually, I'm going to make this a bit bigger right here. So let's go ahead and start renaming the items in this project at this moment. So this text box is the name of the artist. So I'm just going to type in artist name. Come on, keyboard. This one is the name of the song. This picture is our album cover. This one is our personal playlist. Actually, hold on. I don't want to call it that because we do have a playlist button. Okay, I like listen text. Maybe we can go with like listen text box so that way we know this is a text box. Box. Oop. And this is our welcome text. There we go. And we have again our cell phone and background image that are going to remain locked. We're not going to touch them. So from here, let's see, there's no questions, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. So I'm just going to zoom back in. So we've created our first song, and let's go ahead and look at our project. So we need to create our other 3 songs for our homepage. Now, the quickest way we're going to do this is we're going to use a technique I learned from, again, the Storyline Project Lab. We're going to use grouping to copy and paste these items so that way we don't have to keep creating them. So we're going to left click and drag over our items. So we have all 3 items selected. We have the album cover, we have the name of the song, and the album. And then, yeah, album cover. So we're going to right click and we're going to select group. So I'll leave this up for a second. And actually, I'll go ahead and redo it. So I have all 3 items selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select group. So we're going to go to group. And notice in the timeline, those 3 items are now appear under group 1. So there's also this drop down icon. And when we select it, we can see all the items in the group. And let's rename this group Feel Good Flow. Oh, there we go. And from here, we're just going to copy and paste this group 3 times. So we're going to right click, we're going to select copy, and we're going to right click again and select paste. Let me move my screen a little bit. There we go. So let's move this to the right. This is a good spot. And let's create our other 2 images or other 2 songs. So let's select paste again because we already have it copied. There we go. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. And we're going to select paste again. And make sure everything is aligned with each other. So this bottom right group will be aligned to the top and to the left song. So there we go. And that's how we're going to create all our songs. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and rename these as well because they're all called Feel Good Flow and we're not going to know which is which. So let's go ahead and rename this one. This one is Friendly Place. This one is Like a Piano Dream. And this last one is Old School. There we go. So let's go ahead and start replacing the items in these groups. So to select an item in the group, you need to first select the group and then double click on the item to select it. So I'm going to double click and now I have the picture selected. So let's go ahead and replace it. So to do this, make sure you have the image selected. We're going to right click and we're going to go to replace picture and we're going to go to replace picture from file. So again, let me do this again. We're going to first select the group, double click to select the item, which would be our picture, and we're going to right click and we're going to go down to replace picture, picture from file. And in the pop-up, we are going to select our second album cover, which is Friendly Place. There we go. And let's go ahead and change the name of the song as well as the name of the artist as well. So double click to enter in the text box, and we're going to call this one Friendly Place. And again for the artist. There we go. And we're going to do this again for our last two items, our last two groups. So click on the group, double click, right click. I'm going to go to replace picture, picture from file, our third album cover, and we're going to replace the song name and artist. This is a bit too big. What can we do from here? Let's go ahead, since we want it to be consistent for all the songs. We don't want them to be on two different text lines. So let's go ahead and actually shrink the name of the song down to, I believe, to 12. So let's select it and shrink it down. Yeah, that's going to help a lot. So we're gonna have to go back and rename or adjust the size for all the other songs as well, just so we can be consistent. But it's going to look better in the long run. There we go. And this name of this artist, let me zoom in because I cannot see it. There we go. And again for our last album. So select the album, replace the picture from file, and our fourth song, and our last step. So there we go. This is what our project looks like at the moment. We do want to add in our view full playlist button. So we're going to go to we're going to go to insert, we're going to go to shape, we're going to go to rounded rectangle. For this one, we do want to select rounded rectangle and not rectangle itself. We're going to add in another rectangle, and we want this button to be called view full playlist. And the font needs to be shrunken a little bit. So let's bring it down to size 14. And let's center the text as well. And let's change, actually, hold on. For this button, we don't want the font to be pure white. We actually want it to be a slightly gray color. So we want it to be this middle gray color right here. And we want the fill of this shape to be this dark gray color right here. And we do not want an outline. So there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and start developing the song slide so that way everyone knows how to develop it. So using our cell phone slide, we're going to duplicate it again. So we're going to right click on it, select duplicate, and let's rename this new slide to the name of our song. And we're going to develop our first slide, which is our feel good flow song. So feel good flow song. And from here, we're going to enter in our album cover. So we're going to go to insert, picture, picture from file, and our first album cover. We want it to be centered. We want our slide to be at 259. So we want it to be on the x-axis, we want it to be at 103. And for our y-axis, we want it to be at 259. And it is already in the correct resolution, so we do not need to adjust its sizing. So from here, let's go ahead and add in the name of the song and the artist as well. So let's go to insert, text box. So we're just going to name this one the name of the song. We're going to center it. And we want this to be at a size of 32. So 32. And we want to add in our, sorry, uh, we want to add in the name of the artist. So we're just going to duplicate this text box. So we're going to right click, select, well, we want to copy it. So we're going to click on it, select copy, and select paste. And we're going to call this the name of the artist. And we want this to be at a size of 20. There we go. Oop. Save it again. So from here, I'm going to very quickly develop our play button. So we're going to go to insert. We're going to go to picture actually. We're going to import it from our picture. So we're going to select the play button. And we want to bring it down to 150. Oh, where did it go? Gotta zoom out really quick. Oh, what is happening? Oh, why is it so big? So it needs to be at 150. There we go. Now it's the correct size. And we want it to be at a position of 260. Oh, so what I did just here, what I just did is I accidentally entered in the x-axis for the width. So let me undo that. We want this at 150. And we want this to be at 260. We want the y-axis to be at 853. There we go. So this is where we want our play button to be. So again, we want our x-axis to be at 260, and we want our y-axis to be at 853. Now let's go ahead and import our previous and forward button. So insert, we're going to insert our picture. We're going to select our back button. We want to bring this down to 70. Yeah, 70 pixels. And we want this one to be at 138 by 897. There we go. So we want it to be at a width of 70, a height of 70. Yeah, 70. The x-axis is going to be 138, and the x-axis is going to be 138, and the y-axis is going to be 897. So let's go ahead and add in the forward button. So forward, we're going to push this down to 70, and we want this one to be at 460 and 897. There we go. So this is where we want our forward button to be at. Now let's go ahead and add in our home button, and let's add in our playlist button, which is going to appear right here. So insert, we're going to add in our play button, which is a rounded rectangle. There we go. We're going to type in home. And for the format, we want this one to be the exact same color of the playlist button on the home slide. So this was this color. We do not want an outline, so let's remove the outline. And we want our text to be centered. So there's our home button. And let's save this really quickly. We're going to go to insert, and we're going to go to shape again. And this time we're going to add in a rectangle. So let's add in a rectangle. And we want this one to have the text view full playlist. So view full playlist. We want this to be the exact same colors. So there we want that there. No outline. We want it to be centered, and we do want this font color to be that grayish color. So let's select it from the drop down menu. And I believe, yeah, I forgot to do it for the home button as well. So let's make it this grayish color as well. Nope, didn't work. Let's see. We got to select the text box itself. There we go. And that's how you would develop out the song slide. Now, from here, we're going to move our play button to its own layer. So we're going to copy it. So right click and select copy it. We're going to add in a new layer. And layers allow you to add in new content. So because we want this button to switch from a play button to a pause button, layers would be perfect for this instance. So we're going to go ahead and paste it. So we're going to right click and select paste. And it's a bit hard to see, but let's turn off the dim. So there we go. Let's rename this layer play. And we're going to create a new layer, and this is going to be our pause layer. So let's call this new layer pause. Pause. And let's paste it in again. So we're going to right click and select paste. Now from here, we're going to replace the image. So it's our pause image. So we're going to right click, select replace picture, and we're going to select picture from file. From here, we're going to select our pause button. And I'm actually going to go back to our base layer and delete this play button. So there we go. Now from here, we have our play button and we have our pause button ready. So to add in the song, we're going to go to insert again. And for this, we're going to go to audio. And we're going to select audio from file. And we're going to select the song. So this is the song. And yes, we want to add our audio file in on the base layer. Yes, on the base layer. So I have my base layer selected. Thank you for your question. And we're going to select the song associated with the album. So this is our Feel Good Flow song, and this is our Feel Good Flow slide. So we're going to add it. And it's added right here. And notice that it added all this to our timeline. And our timeline now ends when our song ends. So our timeline is now 159 seconds. So the trigger to add in to play the song is you would add a new trigger, and you want to play the media. So we want to play media. We want to play audio 1, which is our song. And we want to play it automatically when the timeline starts on this slide. So we're going to select OK. So The next trigger we need to add in is the trigger that's going to show one of these layers. And the layer we want to show up at the beginning, it's our pause layer. So we're going to add a new trigger. We want to, let's see, we want to show a layer. So we want to show our layer. We want to show our pause layer, not when the timeline starts on this slide, but actually, yes, when the timeline starts in this slide. So that's okay. Now let's preview our slide. There we go. So we can hear our music playing and we have our pause button appearing. So thank you for watching this session, and I hope you enjoyed creating this project. Now, because we did run out of time, we're actually going to continue building out this project in another session next week. So head over to devlinpeck.community next week so you can see this session live. Now, if you do want a challenge, however, then go ahead and using everything you learned in this session, go ahead and see if you could build out the rest of the project by yourself. And if you do succeed, then be sure to tag us on LinkedIn so we can see all your hard work.